We are not supposed. No. Hold on. We are
go ahead.
not supposed to be like women. We are not supposed to be weak. We are supposed to tear shit up. We are supposed to experiment. We are supposed to look to conquer the world. We are supposed to have a form of ego that allows for us to be able to compete against other people. It is the way in which this world was built.
You're getting off the subject, though.
No, I'm not. No, what I'm saying is what you're identifying as a trigger is just naturally being a boy or a man or a person that's growing and becoming a father. It's almost like, it reminds me of when people say, yo, you need to wipe his boo-boo off, or when he falls, pick him up, and all of this other type of stuff. No, he's supposed to suffer.
Right.
He's supposed to get up and then have bruises on his knees.
Right.
Any man that grow up and he never rode a bike, or he never failed and hurt himself, and then everybody always was protecting him or whatever, what happens is he becomes more feminine, and then we try to throw the same labels and the same tactics in order to solve for his problems, like therapy, that women usually embrace in order to be able to make themselves whole.
It cripples them.
It does not cripple them. It does cripple them. And I'm gonna just tell you. Okay, all right. So let me ask you.
Whoa, play me Anton real quick, because this is important.
No, this is perfect. So you've been in therapy, right? Not one man, and my grandmother had 13 kids, the overwhelming majority of boys. Great grandparents had a lot of kids. My father had all boys, no girls. My brothers had all boys. The first girl in my, that was born was my daughter. Even my nephews at 19, 20, 21 years old are about to get married. We have all gotten married. All of my brothers got married. But actually, they all got married before 22. They got married before me. None of us have ever had a problem in a relationship. None of us have ever had a divorce. We've never known a broken family. How come all of the dudes that's going through therapy can't hold down a relationship, and all of the men that has never been to therapy in their entire life, including all of the ones that's in my family, has never had a problem with a broken relationship?
Okay, let me answer that. You have a tight-knit culture, all right? The rest of the people out here, male and female, don't have that. Just like what Ali was saying. You go to your man, a lot of people don't have all that shit. So you can't go to your uncle. Your uncle's a crackhead. You can't go to this person. This person in jail. You can't go to that person. So with you, Anton, the reason why you so much of a great upstanding person is because of the culture of your family system. There's people who have been through all kinds of stuff, and that
so person, why wouldn't you embrace what it is that's made us successful?
Right.
Why wouldn't you embrace what made us successful?
Hold on, bro. Listen, this is important. You have a family system that did not traumatize you compared to another family system. People are brought up by single mother households, all these different situations. Okay. Like I told you, there's something called regression. I can give you a perfect example of a tool that a person can actually get from a therapist or a coach or whatever. Just as an example, it's called don't be the first victim, which means you get into an argument with the opposite sex, right? And they have an issue and you have an issue, right? You let them deal with their issue first and you be the second victim instead of the first. Let them get all that shit out, and then you actually put your shit to the side and then deal with theirs, hear them, see them, and then turn around and deal with your stuff. What usually happens, I'm almost done. What usually happens in arguments is both people want to be the victim at the same time. So once you turn around and say to yourself, I'm not going to be the first victim, you now leave the floor open for the other person to open up about their grievances and put your grievances second. That's just a tool that will stop. That's a conflict resolution tool that you can learn from a mentor, coach, or therapist. It's something that simple.
Cool. So when you getting married?
Soon.
Can I say something?
No. Because the only thing that I care about is the results. And so if these things are working, then that means that it's supposed to translate into what it is that we're doing in real life, correct?
Yes, but there's other people. Wait, there's variables. Remember, variables. Your family had a pretty tight-knit group, right? You found a woman that was not traumatized because she was a virgin, right? So, and she has some issues, but she was a virgin. You got her when she was young, right? So you have two different people that have the same low amount of variables that could have caused trauma. When me or somebody else, they're dating the opposite. Hold on, when they're dating the opposite sex, that person has a certain amount of variables, trauma. The other person has a certain amount of variables, trauma. So when I'm dating somebody, I have to understand, or I'm going to understand, that that particular person has a certain amount of variables that they, or we have to get through before we get married. Because it's about the variables. Different people have different amounts of childhood trauma. You got to remember, y'all got together when y'all was in high school. Neither one of y'all had multiple variables of trauma. You had a tight-knit family, and she, to a certain degree, was a virgin. So your situation is different.
Let me say something to that, please. So my husband, I don't talk about him on here, but I am right now. My husband had a lot of trauma, okay? And he didn't go to therapy, and he's a phenomenal man, all right? He didn't have to do all that. He just know what his greater success is as a man, and he executed it. And he had failures, but he learned how to work through it without the therapy. I'm not saying people can't go to therapy. That's your choice. But as a man, if you know your purpose in life, you know it ain't to be with drama and having a whole bunch of baby mamas, because, well, how does that work for you? You should know how to move. You're going to learn by your community, like I was saying earlier, and you're going to make sure it's the best thing that you could do for yourself, because you know you shouldn't be doing certain things. It's not going to work for you financially or whatever. So you should be able to look around you and say, hey, I don't want to be like that. And then maybe be around people, you know, because you might not have it when you're younger, but when you're older, you have resources to be around people who are successful. So you network and you learn that way. You don't have to have therapy in order to learn what your success is as a man. So
but sometimes that networking has to be therapy, is all I'm saying. I agree with you.
It could be, but you don't have to sit in front of somebody. Like, yeah, I understand that. Like, you could learn.
Just a village of people, right? A therapist could be one of those people in that village, because some people don't have that group of people, like you're saying, right? And if you don't, you have to move out of your sphere of influence and go talk to more people. And sometimes to talk to a very educated person or a person that can help you, it has to be a coach, it has to be a mentor, and it could be a therapist. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying, don't totally shit on therapy.
Feminine men that I know, the most feminine men that I know come from therapy.